This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
About that. Wow. That was like a total voice loss there for like 5 minutes. Hold on. Let's see. It does not matter who the host is. What matters is who the listeners are. I don't even know what happened there. Hello. Anyways, we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And just in case we missed that beginning part, today's Tuesday, February the 27th of 2024, day 58th of the year, and only 308 days left to go. I don't even know what just happened there. That was a romance and a wilderness of pain all combined into one. Anyways, like I said, broadcasting from here, you're listening there, and we're hanging out over there as well.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Yes, some infiltration in Radio Big is always the thing that we know about, and we hang out and talk about and do all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah, I like it when we start off with some clusters right away, right at the very beginning, especially if you're looking at me and watching my lips move and, nothing coming out. I mean, it was weird a few weeks ago. I'm hanging out and somebody comes up to me and says, "Oh my God, I can't believe your voice is coming out of your mouth." I was like, what are you doing? It's kind of weird. Where else would it be coming out of? I mean, I know some things come out of my ass that I talk about, but man, that was one of those moments in time that I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to forget this, regardless of, whatever that conversation was going to lead to, one way, shape, or the other. Anyway, so let's talk real quick, because that's what we do around here. We talk a little bit about everything that is going on inside of the multiverse, the multiplex, the multi-something, that's for sure. So as we are hanging today, let's talk about all kinds of stuff, because it would be weird not to. So we are a show that talks about safety in the news and safety. Sometimes we talk about some things that people don't love, but hey, that's just kind of the way that it goes from time to time. So we talk about safety in the news and safety. We bring in professional broadcasters that tell us all about everything that's going on inside of this world. Because why would you not do that? Why would you not talk about the things that are going on inside of this world? The professional broadcasters take care of that. I talk about main story portions, and then we kind of do some interactions there. If you wanted to interact with the show, you go to callinradio.com. You kind of do a little bit better if you do the text messaging aspect, because there is some video chat and there is some audio chat. But I'm terrible at looking at some of this stuff. Of course, we're on all social media platforms as well. The X version, the Facebook version, the Instagram version, and all that stuff. Yeah, for some reason, we just don't hang on the tick of the talk, because, that's for others. That's for others to do if they're so inclined to do so. So there you go. A lot of stuff, little time. That's the way that my world always works. A lot of stuff, little time. Just don't know why it always happens that way. But hey, that's it. I mean, that is kind of the fun factoids of what we do. So with that being said, callinradio.com will be the best aspect of getting everything moving and grooving. With that being said, why don't we get into what the hell was trending?
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so as I look at the trends of the ends, a Chinese EV manufacturer takes on its high-end gas-guzzling competitors, and the president of Ecuador braces for a long fight. We'll talk about that as we get into the details of the shit list. Also, Jerry Seinfeld got heckled in the Big Apple, and Martha Stewart has a special preference when it comes to undergarments. We'll talk about more about that inside of showbiz. Mary Poppins gets a new rating in the UK. We'll talk about that in casting calls, and the Royal Mint introduces a new slate for coins. We'll talk about that as we get a little bit royale today, and I'm not talking about the royale with cheese kind. Just for information purposes. Also, if you've been hanging out on the station here, on the radio big side of the house, some things are going on. We're always, doing our world and all kinds of fun stuff. And, we've been playing the heck out of one of these songs, but last night or yesterday afternoon, Cannons, they were officially number one on alternative radio. This is the second number one in the format. What an honor to be at the top of the charts this week. Massive thank you to, some of the people that they want to thank. But there you go, Loving You, hitting number one on the alternative music countdown and alternative radio all across the planet there. So congratulations to them. And I will tell you, if you've been hanging out with me lately, you know that I've been listening up a storm to that particular band. That's kind of how it goes. I'm just telling you. If you're hanging out with me, you've heard some Cannons. Maybe once, maybe twice, maybe three times in the same last of, the 4 or 5 minutes that we're hanging out together, because it just seems to be on auto repeat on wherever the hell I'm at. And if the station wouldn't limit me until I can only do it once an hour, I would be probably playing more of it. But that's neither here nor there. Anyways, with that being said, why don't we do this? Why don't we bring in the professional newscasters for them to broadcast their lives away in regards of what is going on? Why don't we do that right now? So here is the news, because I think that that's going to be important right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Mark Mayfield. President Biden says he's hopeful there will be a ceasefire in Gaza by next week. Speaking to reporters yesterday, he said that National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan tells him that it is close, but not done yet. Sullivan said on Sunday he was hopeful an agreement would take place in the next few days after representatives of Israel, the United States, Egypt, and Qatar met recently in Paris. Hamas is easing up on some demands as negotiations over Gaza hostages and a ceasefire progresses. Brian Shook explains.
CNN reports the news comes after Israeli accusations that Hamas's position was delusional. A senior Biden administration official told the news outlet that Hamas is no longer asking for a full withdrawal of Israel forces and end to the war. I'm Brian Shook.
The U.S. Supreme Court is deciding the legality of a Texas law that bans social media companies from blocking users based on viewpoint. Trey Thomas explained.
Aaron Nilsson is the state solicitor general.
If platforms that passively host the speech of billions of people are themselves the speakers and can discriminate, there will be no public square to speak of.
The Texas law was passed back in 2021 after social media companies banned former President Trump. I'm Trey Thomas.
The 2024 Michigan presidential primary takes place today. This comes after Donald Trump defeated Nikki Haley in her home state of South Carolina Saturday, essentially locking up the Republican nomination for president. While Trump is expected to win Michigan, Haley has vowed to stay in the race. And the number of pedestrians killed on the roads is down, but still well above 2019 levels. Estimates put out by the Governor's Highway Safety Association found a 4% drop in fatalities in the first half of 2023. California saw the biggest drop in fatalities, followed by Arizona, Georgia, and Virginia. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Simon Gaitan. US President Joe Biden says he believes a ceasefire in Gaza is likely days away, as reports suggest some progress has been made in negotiations involving Israel and Hamas in Qatar. 3 weeks since Pakistan voted to elect a new government, the country's parliament will finally hold its first session this week. And French President Macron has refused to rule out sending troops to Ukraine, saying Russia's defeat in the war is vital for Europe, pledging further support for Ukraine.
Rated R Safety Show. Sarcastic? Never.
President Biden will visit the U.S.-Mexico border Thursday as he faces sharp criticism for his immigration policy.
He will discuss the urgent need to pass the Senate bipartisan border security agreement, the toughest and fairest set of reforms to secure the border in decades.
White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre told reporters on Monday the president will urge Republicans to take up the border deal recently negotiated by a bipartisan group of senators. The deal fell apart earlier this month after sharp opposition from Republicans who say it didn't go far enough to curb the flow of illegal immigration. Biden is set to meet with Border Patrol, law enforcement, and local leaders in Brownsville, Texas. Meanwhile, Donald Trump will visit Eagle Pass, Texas on the same day to tour the border. Emergency crews were sent to the home of Donald Trump Jr. after he received a letter with an unidentified white powder inside of it. Trump Jr. opened the letter inside his Florida home on Monday. Initial tests were inconclusive, but authorities don't think the powder is deadly. A missing American couple is believed to be dead after escaped inmates allegedly hijacked their yacht in Grenada. Michael Kastner reports.
Kathy Brendel and Ralph Hendry from Virginia were last seen at a beach on the island nation. Police located their boat and captured the 3 escaped criminals that allegedly stole it. Authorities said they found evidence that suggests the pair was killed, but their deaths have not been confirmed. Brendel and Hendry had planned to spend the winter on the yacht. I'm Michael Kastner.
And a major storm front is moving across the U.S. It's bringing snow to the Mountain West, the threat of fires to the plains, and potential thunderstorms to the Midwest. It's the first of 2 storm systems that will hit the country over the next week. Red flag warnings for potential dangerous fire weather are in place from the border in Texas to just near Chicago, impacting almost 20 million people. On Tuesday, thunderstorms may develop in the area from Chicago to Detroit and south towards St. Louis, bringing hail, wind, and tornadoes to the region. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hackneyed? Safety trainers still preaching a warped version. How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywords.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. BIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. BIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with BIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take BIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
That's all we do around here is bring you info that you don't care about, and that's perfectly fine with me. I'm not offended. You shouldn't be either. Okay, maybe if you are offended, that's okay. That's just kind of the way that the gig goes. Anyway, 16 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely, I want to say Friday, but it's only a Tuesday. Let's continue. Anyways, what had been promoted as the Battle of the Joeys at the wonderful Pistachio Getting Cracking Eating Championships in Santa Monica on Monday ended up with a different J name being crowned the victor. Yeah, a different J name. Ahead of the contest, it was assumed that a competitive eating legend, Joey Chestnut, would win, or even the NFL player Joey Bosa. But when it was all said and done, James Webb was crowned the pistachio eating king. Not only did Webb win, but he also set a record of 338 pistachios consumed in 8 minutes. But don't worry about Bosa. He was just thrilled not to get not choke on any nuts. This is according to Bleacher Report. Yeah, you don't really want to get choked up on the nuts, if you know what I'm saying there. So there you go. I didn't even know there was a pistachio eating championship. I mean, did you know that? I mean, I didn't know that. I mean, now you know and I know. Or maybe you did know. I mean, I don't know. I hardly know about anything that's going on.
Duh.
So there you go. Anyways, let's see. Tesla's chief rival of global EV market in the Chinese is manufacturer BYD, which announced this week that the electric supercar that goes toe-to-toe with the high-end sports car like Ferraris, the U9 model can reach speeds of 192 miles per hour, and 192 miles per hour and reach 60 miles per hour in under 2.5 seconds. But the performance comes with a cost. The initial price for tag runs for $230,000. Deliveries are scheduled this summer. This is according to CNBC. So there you go. What do you think? Would you get a car like that? $230,000. You know, I have to tell you, there are cars out there that I like. And I mean, I like them a lot. But when I start looking at some of these cars and go, you know, what the payment on the car is, if you're not buying it straight, of course, is the equivalent to a house payment. I don't know if the car's worth it. It makes you kind of really, really wonder about some stuff.
You are listening to a radio god. What? This has to be an error. That host is not a radio god. Anyways, this is the Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, Delta is offering 2 special flights on April the 8th that will allow passengers to get the optimal view of the solar eclipse about 30,000 feet in the air. The rare event promises an exciting viewing opportunity over some heavily populated areas in the United States. Last week, the company sold the flight from Austin to Detroit, allowing the eclipse path that sold out in 24 hours. On Monday, they added a route from Dallas to Detroit. Both flights will take about 3 hours. Here's my question. Once you get to Detroit, what do you do? I mean, I'm asking. Like, do you fly right back and go, okay, well, I saw the eclipse? I have a friend of mine that has invited me to go to Austin. He wants me to go there for like 2 days ahead of actually the eclipse taking place, just to do Austin-y things, to try to keep Austin weird. Now, I will tell you, there's a few companies in Austin that I quite like. So, I have been sitting back going, that could be some fun, depending on what needs to be done there. Anyways, the company that put the first ever private American moon lander on the lunar surface announced on Monday that they would cease all communications with the Odyssey unit sometime later today. Intuitive Machines say that the disappointing turn of events will cut the mission short after the 5 days. Though the Odyssey successfully soft landed on the moon, it tipped on its side, preventing full communication with Earth. The news sent company stock sliding 35% on Monday. So I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on here where you have to think about this, because you kind of go, okay, well, if you could do that, wouldn't you want to do, I mean, I'm not going to say hovercraft style, but wouldn't there be some thought process behind that? I mean, I don't know. I'm just having a conversation with you. And of course, when I saw this news story previously, there was some other references that says, if we could make it to outer space, why do people down here keep on buying bunkers?
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
I don't know if entertainment's really the thing, but that's something to talk about. President of Ecuador, Daniel Noboa, said that in an interview on Monday that the drug kingpin Adolfo Fito Macias is almost certainly now out of the country. Nearly 2 months after he disappeared from prison cell, the ensuing gang violence that erupted amid the manhunt triggered a nationwide public emergency, currently set to sunset on March the 8th. Noboa said that he expects to extend the emergency for at least another 30 days. He also encouraged regulators to finalize and approve plans to construct 2 new prisons that each capable of holding 4,000 inmates as the country continues to rein in gang violence and drug activity. This is according to Metro Ecuador. So there you go. I don't know. Some interesting stuff when you really start thinking about it when it's all said and done. I mean, I guess there's some other stuff to think about as well, but that's neither here nor there. Let's get into some news real quick. Actor Chris Gawther has passed away. He passed away on Friday after suddenly falling ill with an undisclosed illness. No other details have been shared. Gawther was known for his roles on Once Upon a Time and on Smallville. He was only 48 at the time of the passing. Also, baseball player Jose De Leon has died. He passed away on Sunday after a battle with cancer. De Leon spent 13 seasons in the major leagues as a pitcher for the Pirates, White Sox, Cardinals, Phillies, and the Expos. He was 63 at the time of his passing. And then financier Jacob Rothschild has died. His passing was announced by the family on Monday, though no details were given. Rothschild was the senior member of the Europe's best-known banking dynasty. He was 87 at the time of his passing. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on right here today as we are talking about some things, because that's what we do. We do a lot of jabber-abber, a lot of talk, when we should be doing a lot of walk. And if you know, you know, and that's kind of the way that it goes with that stuff. No doubt about that. Anyways, with that being said, why don't we get into some of the business of what the hell's going on today, and why don't we bring in some Aaron Royale with some money matters?
Last week's AT&T outage was not the result of a cyber attack, but experts say it does give us a taste of what an attack would feel like.
All of a sudden, 911 calls don't go through anymore. A lot of services that you might use on your phone where you don't have Wi-Fi, those go down.
UTSA professor Max Kilger says the outage should be a wake-up call to businesses. Not only do they need to address cybersecurity, but he says they need to have an action plan on what to do if their cell phone network goes down, which could affect small businesses who rely on cell service to process payments.
It's a nasty reminder of how dependent we are upon digital infrastructure.
The merger deal between 2 grocery store chains is in jeopardy.
The Federal Trade Commission is now sued to block a proposed merger between Cincinnati-based Kroger and Albertsons, believing that the $24.5 billion deal will lead to higher prices for millions of Americans and eliminate competition for workers, threatening their ability to fight for better wages and working conditions. The suit was filed Monday by the FTC and was joined by 9 attorneys general from across the U.S. Ohio's Dave Yost not among them. Kroger and Albertsons agreed to merge back in the fall of 2022, saying the move would better help them compete with rival retailers like Walmart and Amazon by creating a conglomerate that would control about 13% of the U.S. market. I'm Rick Ucino.
Amazon is officially joining the Dow Jones Industrial Average. The e-commerce giant is replacing Walgreens' Boost Alliance in the 30 stock index. Analysts say the addition of Amazon will increase the Dow's exposure to tech and consumer retail business areas. New home sales rose in January despite higher mortgage rates. Figures from the Commerce Department show new home sales edged up 1.5% to an annual rate of 661,000 units last month. The increase is less than industry analysts expected. The median price of a new home sold in January was just $421,000. Consumer and business news, Aaron Raal, NBC News Radio.
Okay, thank you, Aaron, for that information right there, because it's always important to know what the hell's going on inside of the market. So let's get a little bit deeper into it, because why would we not? You know what I'm saying there. The Dow lost about 62 points to close at 39,069, and the S&P lost about 19 points to close at 5,069. And the NASDAQ lost about, 20 points to close at 15,976. West Texas Intermediate closed at $77 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $81 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.26 on Monday, and Bitcoin surged on Monday, up more than, 5.5%, and trading just over $54,500. There was more than 2,640 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Monday, with about 65 such cancellations. Tonight's Mega Million drawing will be for $563 million jackpot, or a $265.4 million cash payout. So, if you want to play the game, it's time to play the game. So there you go. If you want to play. I mean, you don't have to play. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just saying to say. That's the way that it goes around here. So let's get into some news. What do we want to do here? I think I got a lot of it. I got a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff to talk about today, depending on how you want to look. I mean, where do we want to go? I mean, okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take all of the news that are related to, actors and actresses and move it over to Radio Big. So we're going to push that over today, 100%, for the most part. Now, let's bring in some other people to talk about some other things. A lofty goal to train San Diegans in CPR is upon the way. Take a listen to this from Bree Tennis.
UC San Diego is teaming up with County Health with a goal to train 1 million San Diego County residents in CPR this year. Maureen O'Connor is the program manager of San Diego Project Heartbeat. She says her organization does thousands of 10-minute trainings of CPR every year. The American Red Cross says if you can get a bystander to perform CPR, your chance of survival doubles. I'm Bree Tennis.
Yeah, good idea to get somebody who's not you to do CPR if something's down, going on with you. I mean, that's probably a good idea. I mean, I'm just saying. So there you go. So a lot of stuff going on there. Do we want to talk about this? Let's talk about this. The documentary where Wendy Williams began airing on Lifetime over the weekend, and some say it raises more questions than it answers. The former TV talk show host family announced last week that Williams is being treated in a facility to get help for dementia as well as aphasia. Take a listen.
Did you see a neurologist to find out if I'm crazy? Mm-hmm.
The documentary doesn't give much insight than that, but it does depict the New Jersey native continuing struggles with alcohol, which her son says that he believes has been a contributing factor to her cognitive disorder. The producers of the documentary now say that they would have never moved forward with the project if they would have known how serious the situation was. Williams is currently under independent guardianship with no access, she says, to money. What else do we have? In the clip, you hear Wendy Williams' son, Kevin Hunter, who says that he believes her cognitive disorder is related to her struggles with alcohol addiction.
My mom, she always talks about how she wants to work. I feel as though she's worked enough.
It's kind of one of those weird things when you start listening to it, because there's so many things that come to mind when you start thinking about, okay, the lady has an illness. He believes that it's related to her alcohol issues. So is this something that you should probably be airing? Now it becomes one of those weird spots of things to talk about. But then again, release forms were signed. Somebody said, hey, this is a good idea. I don't know what to tell you, because there's a lot of stuff that comes to mind.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Okay, Lansing, Michigan, the presidential primary day in Michigan, where over a million voter has already cast their ballot early. Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson says that most of those were cast absentee, but over 78,000 early in-person votes were also cast during the 9 days early voting that was open.
Now, overall, this is great news for our state. The robust early voting turnout shows that Michigan citizens are engaged in this process and are making sure their voice is heard.
I want my voice to be heard. She says that the turnout of the pre-election day was 13% higher than the 2020, despite the nomination not being much in doubt in both parties. In 2020, nearly 2.4 million votes were cast for the presidential primary. Also, Michigan State Secretary also says that over 1 million people have voted in the absentee or cast in person. Take a listen.
It shows that Michigan voters, when they have options to vote, they embrace those options.
Okay, so if you have an option to vote, they embrace it. That's important. Let's embrace right now. So let's talk about some things. Several proposals already have signed into law after being passed by the state legislature in Des Moines, Iowa. One bill would set up an oversight to increase penalties for foreign owners of Iowa farmland.
Chinese nationals are buying farmland near military bases. They're looking to steal our intellectual property, our livestock practices and advancements learned through generations of agriculturalists. They're coming for our way of life.
Blackhawk County Representative Derek Wolf, another proposal passed. Both chambers would increase penalties for people who knowingly report false information to law enforcement, otherwise known as swatting.
We cannot continue to waste manpower and put our lives at stake responding to things that are not real. This bill ups penalties appropriately, fitting the crime for false reporting.
Okay, so let's talk about some false reporting, because that's always fun. So you're going to report something that's false, or somebody's going to report something that's false, and then you're in turn going to make a determination if it's true or false, and then hold them accountable by doing what? I mean, that's the question. Because the question behind the question, the QBQ here, because that's what we're going to talk about, you have to come into place and go, what is the thing that led to the person to believe that this needed to be reported? It's going to be a hard one. Think about it for a moment, because people get very strange when it comes to some of this information when it's all said and done. Think about it. I mean, let's not go crazy here. There is no other way to put it. Anyways, 32 minutes past the top of the hour, and you know what it is. It's that time to do that thing.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Main story time. And listen, I know that sometimes we have to go back and revisit the stuff that we've talked about in other segments, in other parts of the world, in other timelines that you and I have been in together. Yeah, I did say other timelines, but we'll talk about that at a different point. So, do you know that work is not easy? Do you know that work is hard? Do you know that you are paid to do work? Now, some people might not be happy with their pay of what they're making, and I get that. But do you understand the whole complex situation that goes into it? And some people will sit around and go, man, my boss is a dick. And they'll say that. And I don't like them, and they're an a-hole, and all this other fun stuff that they'll turn around and say. But when it's all said and done, if you kind of take the context of everything and kind of put it into a giant segment and really think about it, what if you helped people understand that your boss is just a person trying to make work go as easily and effectively and profitable as possible as he or she can do? Think about it for a moment. Your boss is not your parent. Your boss is not your high school principal. And talking to your boss should not scare you. It should not be a level of fear for having to talk to your boss or make you hold back information or even give you a nervous feeling that he or she is going to make something happen that your pit of your stomach is going, oh my God, I don't know what to do. In fact, if you're reacting to this way to your boss and you think that it's like the same level that you felt when you were a kid, that you're about to be in trouble, you're reacting inappropriately to the situation. And I want you to think about that. Do everything that you can do to know that your boss is most likely wants you to respond in a professional manner. And, and be less if as if you're being sent to a disciplinarian, because some people think that that's the case of what's going on. Not every boss is a good boss, and not even a good person. But chances are they are high that the boss is doing everything he or she can do to keep the train on the track and please the people above him or her. Because you know how that management aspect normally works. I mean, even if you're the CEO of a company, you still have a client, a customer that you need to respond to. And think about it. Most bosses want to be liked, and they even want to succeed. And those are important ingredients to a successful workplace. So if your boss is a good leader, then he or she has hired people with personality, talent, and skills, probably better than theirs, because they want the thing to continue to move. So if you can change the way that you're talking of your boss and it makes you, and the way that the things make you feel, then you can change the quality and the effectiveness of the information that you give and receive from your management. But the thing that I have the hardest time with is that I see people that go into work and struggle with the work that needs to be done and say, my boss has a very high, expectancy on what needs to be delivered. It's not realistic. And I can't talk to the person because I don't feel comfortable about it. Well, if that's the case, there's something wrong in the relationship. And I'm not going to say the power dynamic here because we can get into a whole other cluster there when we start talking about that. But when you start looking at this and really give it some true validation, you have to realize, I mean, you don't have to realize, but you should probably realize that your boss is just your boss. I'm not saying leader here, and I am purposely not using that term, because if you're looking at the person as your boss, you're not viewing them in a leadership position normally. It's more of a dictator type of thing. I know it can get very weird when we get into these conversations, but you know me, trying to keep it real.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
I know you all want to hit your revenue targets and get the launch done. Well, making sure that your team knows what to do and how to do it is a huge part of it. So I'm sure that you all do different kinds of training, and I'm willing to bet that you probably use PowerPoint, Zoom, etc. I also bet that when you get someone droning on about a topic using these tools, you probably zone out. And your team does too. I mean, it is a reality of what happens. That's why I strongly recommend a tool called Articulate 360. That makes it so easy to whip together interactive, really beautiful e-learnings that really engages people and gets info across. You can create short-form micro-learning, super interactive courses, and really whatever you need when you're in their site. Then with a couple of clicks, you can send it out and check on it and see
see the progress of your team. Your team can also check back on the training anytime they want in a super simple portal. Literally everyone uses Articulate. Over 120,000 companies and all 100 Fortune 100 companies. Check it out at articulate.com/360 to start a free trial. That's articulate.com/360 to start your free trial. And don't forget to tell them that I was the one that sent you there.
We are radio. We are sarcasm. We are both combined. Radio Big.
Let me talk to you real quick. What is HelloFresh? With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Spend your time this month shopping for gifts and sipping cocoa, not stuck at the checkout line. Sign up for HelloFresh and get everything you need to whip up a fresh, tasty meal delivered to your door. Just choose your recipes, select a delivery date, and relax knowing the dinner's on its way. HelloFresh has over 45 recipes and more than 100 seasonal add-on items to choose from every week, so it's easier than ever to find something everyone will enjoy. Go to HelloFresh.com/SafetyFM free. That's HelloFresh.com/SafetyFM free to use the code SafetyFM free for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/SafetyFM free with code SafetyFM free. And don't forget that this is why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello. In order to save the planet from cow farts, why doesn't someone just invent really large gas X pills?
God, what's that awful stench? Radio Big.
It's you and I, becoming what we idolize. It's you and I, and we can live forever like such a just you and I. The naked light, it's burning bright. Everything's inside, nothing to hide behind. We can be immortalized.
Okay, 43 minutes past the top of the hour. You are still hanging out on the Rated R Safety Show. We are still doing our thing. We are still hanging and banging. We're still having some fun times. Yep, that's what we do around here. Hanging out. This right here, Never Die by Step Rockets. Yeah, you and I will never die. So thanks to Step Rockets for allowing us to play this. This song is readily available on Apple Music, Spotify, and YouTube Music. And you know how I love me some music around here. Yeah, you and I will never die. So there you go. Yep, you're still hanging here. I don't even know what I was about to say. Because I was going to tell you something about the Jay Allen in the Morning Show, but that doesn't start, according to some, until another 16 minutes. But I know that I'm living it in real time right now as we speak. Anyways, let me tell you about the most important part that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. And To Write Love on Her Arms wants you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to twloha.com. That's twloha.com. Click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, they'll have information readily available about addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support, resources, just to name a few. There's all kinds of stuff right there on their website, To Write Love on Her Arms. And listen, I'm going to tell you, once you get there, plethora of information. There's all kinds of other stuff. If you don't want to go into that, they have stories. They have events that are coming up. They have information about self-care, how to find help. They even have a store. Yeah, they even have a store to get some of the ghetto shirts that they have. And I will tell you, I am an avid fan of their stuff. Most of the time, you will see me wearing at least one item from To Write Love on Her Arms, because that's how much I enjoy what they're doing and their messaging. Not a joke. Bracelets galore. In regards of what I normally have going on. I know if you don't see me with the t-shirt, I got the bracelet on. This kind of the way that it goes, because I just like what they're doing. I think their messaging is so important, but that is my thing. So there you go. Some stuff to think about as we are hanging out. Anyways, let's get into some other information as we are hanging out on this lovely, lovely, lovely Tuesday. So should I talk about some of these bin watchers wanted? If you're one of those people who is such a huge movie fan that can host an Oscar watching party and participate in an Oscar poll, when this might be perfect for you, then a website is offering to pay a film fan $2,000 to watch all of this year's Best Picture Academy Award winning nominees and predict the winners. TestCasinos.com called a unique job opportunity where someone will be selected to watch 10 nominees for Best Picture, rate each film, then predict the outcome of the Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actress, and Best Supporting Actress and Best Supporting Actor at this year's Oscar. The chosen candidate will receive $2,000 plus a 65-inch 4K television and a DoorDash gift card for $500. Applications are being accepted through March the 9th. All you have to do is go to testcasinos.com/blog/Oscar-nominee-dream-job. Yep. So, which wouldn't you give a lot of time to watch 10 movies, considering that the Oscars happen on March the 10th? Also, it'll be over this, but I don't think that there is enough Doritos in town for me to sit through 10 movies in a row. But here's the thing. If you start thinking about this, wouldn't you want to win that TV prior to you watching this? Because imagine you don't have the greatest TV, and how long is it going to take for you to get that TV in? And why aren't they not giving you a brand of what that television is? I got some questions. I want to have a better understanding here. No doubt about that. I mean, what do you think? And just in case, some of the movies that you would have to watch is American Fiction, Anatomy of Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killer of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone Interest. So there you go. It's only open to U.S. and Canadian residents for you to be able to enter. So there you go, if you so care to do so. I'm trying to see if they have a listing of what it is, but no, it does not. And by the way, it was an error in our ways. The entries are open now and they close on March the 3rd, not the 9th. That was an error on our part. So just some info there. just for information purposes. So there you go. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other stuff because there's always a plethora. Yeah, a plethora of things to talk about because why would there not be? So let's talk about some immigration polling real quick. More voters say that immigration is the top problem facing our nation. Rory O'Neill has more info.
More than the economy, more than inflation, more than government itself. 28% of Americans in a new Gallup survey say immigration is the most important problem facing the country today. That's an 8-point jump in the past month and the first time immigration has been the single most important problem since 2019. 55% of voters in the Gallup survey say illegal immigration is a critical threat to the United States. I'm Rory O'Neill.
Okay, thank you, Rory, for that information right there. What do you think? Is that your top of the list? I don't know. If you're having problems figuring out what to make for dinner, make an affordable Kellogg's has a suggestion. Michael Kastner has more.
When I say cereal, you say dinner. Cereal. Dinner. Cereal. Dinner.
Kellogg's CEO Gary Pilnick says people should eat cereal for dinner to save money on soaring food costs. He told CNBC last week that it's much more affordable and helps out when consumers are under pressure. Kellogg's has been pushing cereal for dinner since 2022 when it started a campaign with the tagline, "Give chicken the night off."
Chicken!
You can have the night off, chicken.
Oh, okay, I'll go marinate.
Cereal!
Dinner!
Cereal!
Dinner!
I'm Michael Kastner.
Okay, things just got weird there, but welcome to my life. Anyways, there's even more money now up for grabs this week in the Mega Millions, the Powerball lottery drawing. Michael Costa has more.
A lucky ticket in tonight's Mega Millions drawing will be worth an estimated $563 million. The cash option on that works out to over $265 million. There's no grand prize winner in last night's big Powerball drawing, so that jackpot has now jumped to $412 million ahead of the next time to strike it rich on Friday. I'm Michael Kastner.
Okay, strike it rich on Friday. That's what I always say. Anyways, Kalamazoo, Michigan, a Kalamazoo woman who has taught barbering and cosmetology for 35 years is retiring. Jacqueline Rush, better known as many as Miss Jackie, taught over 25,000 students at the West Michigan College of Barbering and Beauty of the South near White's Road in Kalamazoo. Take a listen.
I have hundreds of students that own their own shops. Amazing. But my whole thing was I wanted them to continue their education.
She says that she now wants to spend her time traveling the world. Miss Jackie says, I fell in love with all 2,500 plus that came through. Jacqueline Rush, also known as Miss Jackie, says that retiring at 35, teaching cosmetology and barbering at Kalamazoo. Take a listen.
This was my calling, to be an educator and to make a difference and give so many students here hope. And an amazing thing, I fell in love with all 2,500 plus that came through here. And they know that Miss Jackie, nobody else loves you. Miss Jackie loves you.
Miss Jackie loves you. I mean, keep in mind, they should also be paid for doing some psychology treatment because you know that some of the advice that you get in that barber's chair or in that cosmetology chair can make a world of difference. No doubt about that. So have fun in your retirement, Miss Jackie. There is no doubt there. So with that being said, let's bring some John Smalls inside of our life and let him tell us about what the hell is going on with the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Darren. Dr. Jordan Peterson said, "The proper way to fix the world isn't to fix the world. There's no reason to assume that you're even up to such a task. But you can fix yourself. You'll do no one any harm by doing so. And in that manner, at least you'll make the world a better place." I agree. Dr. Jordan Peterson is a super smart guy. Sometimes he's so smart, it almost hurts my feeble brain to understand him. Thankfully, he's also really good at breaking down what he means so almost anyone can understand it. Like this quote, "We can't change the world all on our own, but we can change ourselves, and that will change the world all around us. We can each make a very positive impact." This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
California Governor Gavin Newsom says Alabama's recent decision that embryos count as people is part of a war on women.
Newsom spoke with NBC News Meet the Press on Saturday, where he said the decision is part of a larger game plan by Republicans to restrict women's travel, health care, and even how a woman is defined. He also criticized former President Trump, who is reportedly considering a 16-week federal abortion ban. I'm Chris Coraggio.
Amy Schumer says negative comments on social media about her appearance led her to seek a medical exam. The actress-comedian revealed on Friday's edition of the News Not Noise newsletter that she's been diagnosed with Cushing's syndrome. It's a condition that's caused when the body has too much of the hormone cortisol, which helps control stress and blood pressure. Health updates. Sarah Lee Kessler, NBC News Radio.
We're rocking all day at work because we don't give a duck. Autocorrect probably just saved my ass there.
Like I give a flying,
Okay, there you go. 54 minutes past the top of the hour, because that is what time it is. So let's talk about this real quick. Let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. If we take a look at 2019, let's take a look at 2019. Actor Luke Perry suffers a stroke. He would suffer another stroke the following weeks, leaving his family to make a difficult decision to remove him from life support on March the 4th. He was 52 at the time of his passing. Perry was famous for his role as Dylan McKay on Beverly Hills 90210. And let's see, Fred Andrews on Riverside. That happened back on this date, back in 2019. Let's talk about some birthdays that are going on today. Colin Wilson turns 32. Jenny Boyd turns 33. So does Sean Strickland. Brittany Ashton Holmes turns 35. Daniel Gibson, 38. Jenny J. Wow Farley turns 39 today. Kate Mara turns 41. Josh Groban turns 43. Bobby V, 44. Also, Chelsea Clinton turns 44 today. Tony Gonzalez turns 48. Rosanda Thomas turns 53, and Timothy Spall, from the Harry Potter franchise, well, he turns 67 today, just in case if you were wondering. What else do we have going on today? Let's see. It's National Pokemon Day, National Kahula Day, the Big Breakfast Day, nope, not that one yet, National Strawberry Day, No Brainer Day, and then last but not least, it's International Polar Bear Day. Yeah, I did say that out loud.
The World Wildlife Fund says polar bears are threatened by climate change. The snow is melting and their meal of choice, seals, dwindling. There are about 2,200 sea bears left in the wild. That's not a lot. A polar bear's life is simple: sleep, hunt, and play. And although they look cuddly, they're among the most ferocious land predators on Earth, at the top of the food chain. I'm Bree Tennis.
Okay, thank you, Bree Tennis, for that and letting us know that the cute and cuddly are not as cute and cuddly as one would expect. That's good to know, because you know what they say, knowing is half the battle, and I'm not G.I. Joe, my friends. So anyways, let's talk about this real quick. Let's talk about a random joke for today, because I think you might need one of those, because they're always important to talk about. So here you go. Netflix should have a category called easy to follow while looking at your phone the whole time. Boy, do I have friends that fall into that category. I have a friend in particular that every time that they watch something, they tell me on how miserable it was and how terrible a show was. And then I asked them, were you looking at your phone? And they go, well, yeah. So then how the hell do you know what's going on? But that's neither here nor there. Anyways, if you need a question for the water cooler, try this. It was determined that people who do this at least 3 times a week are meaner. What is it? Watch reality TV shows. There you go. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What was ruined because it became popular? I can probably name some bands off of there that come to mind. And not that I'm saying that they were my own personal bands, but man, you know how sometimes popularity changes things for people. That's just kind of the way that it goes. Okay, so that's pretty much it. That's going to sum up our time together. Thanks for hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show. At the top of the hour, I'll be going over to RadioBig.fm. We're going to start off that show this morning with playing a little Loving You by Cannons, just so you know. Well, we're going to start it right off the bat. You know, the number one song and the alternative music countdown all around the board there. So there you go. So anyways, I'll be doing that at Radio Big. If you want to hang out with Sheldon Primus, you can stay on Safety FM, and he will tell you about the world of safety consulting. By the way, I'm supposed to have a meetup with Sheldon Primus relatively soon here. We'll see how this ends up going. So there you go. Anyways, if I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this. If you stumble, make it part of the dance. Just keeping that in mind, because why not dance when you're stumbling? That's what I think about. Anyways, I thank you before I say that, thank you for being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, it makes no sense to do what we do today. or any other day. Anyways, Gordon Walsh, by the way, will be coming on to our Safety FM with Jay Allen later today. It'll be released at noon Eastern time. I want to be a lookout for that. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. I love you, mean it, and goodbye. No, seriously, goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.